Hello, beloved church family of the Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Judith Roberts, and I'll be your host tonight. I welcome you to our Midweek Oasis Wednesday night service. As you will be able to experience tonight, our Wednesday night Oasis is a place where we come together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. Most Wednesday night services build upon the theme of the previous Sunday, expressing science of mind principles and practices with the intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and interactive. Our annual theme for 2025 is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. Our monthly theme for August is On the Wings of Love. Last Sunday, Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman introduced ideas inspired by the talk title, The Turbulence of Love. And tonight, our speakers will continue the exploration of the same topic. Sounds very intriguing. So as we gather tonight, I really want to welcome you. If you're new to our community or watching our recording, please visit our homepage at www.oaklandcsl.org and click on the I'm New icon. And look at the lower left-hand corner of that page to submit your email address. Once you do, you'll be receiving the Village newsletter once a week on Thursdays in your email. It has all the information on what is happening at the center in the coming weeks. Before we get started with the talk, please mute your own audio microphone during tonight's service. You can leave your camera on. When you mute your audio, it will improve the quality of our recording and tonight's transmission. Please stay tuned through the end of the service to receive special and important announcements. So now I would like to introduce our speakers, Ron Marshall and Nancy Hester. Ron has been a Center of Spiritual Living licensed practitioner since 2009. He serves at Heart and Soul Center of Light in Oakland, where he is active in fostering spiritual community and growth. Dedicated to his life purpose, Ron serves as a spiritual coach, teacher of spiritual classes, and revealer of truth. So welcome, Ron. And Nancy is on the OCSL Board of Trustees. She has participated in various fundraising events for our center and is currently the lead for the upcoming OCSL 80th anniversary celebration taking place on September 20th. This is her third time appearing as a speaker for Wednesday night service along with Ron. In addition to being on the Board of Trustees, Nancy enjoys giving of her time and talent to various clients in need of administrative support. So we give a warm welcome to Nancy and Ron as our speakers tonight. As we do with every organized event at the center, we open with prayer, and I will open us with prayer. So if you could just settle into your place wherever you are, take a breath with me. And let anything that has gone before this moment fall away. And just come to the present. The beauty of the breath. The beauty of this moment. Knowing that this is the breath of life, that this is a gift. And that in that gift is the divine. In that gift is the spirit of one. And that we as a community and an extended community are one. We're one in spirit. We're one in life. We're one in love. And that love is at the center of our being. It's in the beating of our hearts. It's in every cell of our bodies. It is within and without. It surrounds us. And so I know that tonight, as Nancy and Ron offer their talk on the turbulence of love, that we receive insights, we receive inspiration, that we are enriched and we are opened and we are deepened as they share their experience and their wisdom. We are blessed. Everyone who participates in this service tonight, in person, online, is blessed, and everyone who watches this recording later is blessed by the words and the offering that Nancy and Ron give us tonight. And I know that this service unfolds with ease and grace, and that it is enveloped and characterized by grace. It comes from grace. And so, looking forward to this beautiful talk tonight, I invite you to say with me, and so it is. And so now I would like to turn this over to Nancy and Ron.
So thank you, Judith, for that lovely invocation, opening prayer, and thank you to Oakland Center for having us for the third time. We appreciate the invitation, and thank you to Reverend Sunshine and to Freddie and Judith for hosting us this evening. We're truly grateful for the opportunity to spend time with you spend time with you this evening. Um, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ron Marshall. I am, as Judith said, a licensed practitioner at Heart and Soul Center of Light. And I am also most fortunate to be Nancy's partner. And tonight we're going to be talking about the turbulence of love. Nancy is going to be introducing herself and then getting us started with some thoughts around the definition of turbulence itself.
So good evening, everyone. You all know me, as stated before. I'm a board member for OCSL, and I'm also on the planning committee for our upcoming gala on September 20th. So we're going to start our talk tonight, and I will be reading my notes. I am not of minister status yet, but stay tuned. I wanted to start by giving the definition of turbulence. And what does that mean? To me, let's start with the definition. It's the quality or state of being turbulent, such as a great commotion or agitation. Another is a state of confusion without any order. When you're on a plane and you hit turbulence, it means it's going to be bumpy, possibly a rocky experience. Thank God they are only temporary. The same experience can be seen in relationships when changing circumstances make people reactive to events and experiences with their romantic partner. Fortunately, just as air turbulence is a normal part of flying and rarely brings down the plane, relational turbulence is also a natural byproduct of negotiating intimacy with a partner, and it doesn't have to sink your relationship. All relationships at some point in time experience turbulence. It's how we handle there's turbulence that determines the outcome. I remember years ago when Ron and I first started dating, we were experiencing turbulence to the place where I wanted to call the control tower to let go of my control. I even considered making an emergency landing. My flaps were down and I was preparing for descent. I was grateful that Ron had on his spiritual seatbelt, as he's always the more calm, patient, and reassuring one in our relationship. I believe turbulence in relationships comes to teach us something about ourselves. It's easier to blame your significant other or a friend when things don't go our way. Besides, that way I don't have to take responsibility for myself. However, over these years, I've come to know it's so much better for me if I focus on correcting my behavior. I feel turbulence has helped me lean into my responsibility more, as opposed to pointing the other finger. That way, I'm more in control of the outcome. All wrongdoings arise in the mind. Then it must be true, as Ernest Holmes would say, it is through the mind that wrongdoings can disappear. The belief and thinking of our minds creates the container for our experiences in life. When we encounter situations in a relationship that don't align with our desires, we can gently return to our thoughts and adjust the mindset we are experiencing. Change your thinking, change your life, and change the outcome of your relationship issue. In any relationship where love is involved, one can experience a range of emotions. It's my belief that our thoughts and feelings towards that person can help maneuver our way through the challenges. A lot of these thoughts we tend to make up, giving them no real justification. Think about it for a minute. Recall a recent relationship challenge you experienced with someone you love or hold dear. How much of what you thought contributed to the turbulence came true? How much was real? Did the other person actually intentionally hurt you? Or is that what you thought was their intention? When you both cleared the air over your blame game, how much of what you thought was intentional was simply the feelings you experienced from those out to get me feelings? In retrospect, what do you feel you could do differently the next time to shorten the range of turbulence? Is it possible that turbulence in relationships can offer transformation? Ernest Holmes states so frequently, thoughts are things. It's so easy to forget this in the heat of a discussion, because sometimes we just want to be right or get our way. Furthermore, it's been my experience that sometimes I just need the other person to get me or understand where I'm coming from, because I have so much more experience in the situation than you do. Or fill in the blanks. You know what I'm talking about. It's in those moments I have to catch myself and be reminded, how much friction am I contributing to this conversation? And where can I pour love in to make the other person understand I'm not out to upset them? I can allow the other person to speak and really listen to what they're saying. Listen with my heart, not with my mind. Oftentimes, we lash out at another person from some unresolved hurt or experience that has nothing to do with them. Turbulence, like I stated earlier, can lead to a stimulating experience. The biggest challenge here is to stop, drop, and roll. Am I able to come from a place of love and just listen without judgment? It's been my experience that sometimes turbulence is good. Sometimes we have to go through the fire to fine-tune our emotions. I'd like to recall a quote from Iyanla Vanzant years ago when I read her book, One Day My Soul Just Opened Up. She speaks of going through the fire or going through turbulence. She goes on to say, these tough times come to teach us something. In the end, you will not be burned, you will not be scorched. In the midst of conflict, we are always at choice to change our mind and look with our heart, to transform our ignorance, which can oftentimes contribute to a more favorable outcome.
Thank you, Nancy. Uh, as Nancy mentioned, relationships experiencing turbulence sometimes may feel chaotic. There are frequent ups and downs, including a clear lack of direction. And as you said, most of the time it's temporary. Uh, a metaphor for of a roller coaster. The metaphor for roller coaster is sometimes used in describing turbulent times in relationships or the relationship itself. Um, and as someone who grew up in New York, Brooklyn specifically, riding roller coasters in Coney Island, my favorite is still the Cyclone, by the way. This really resonates with me. First experiencing the ups and downs and twists and turns was frightening, as a kid. And all I wanted was for the ride to be over. But as I began to recognize that those twists and turns were to be expected and were literally part of the ride, and that it was just my imagination going haywire with thoughts of being thrown from the ride and bouncing off of this. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to continue to paint that picture. But that was you're an 8 or 9-year-old child, and that's what goes through your mind. And I actually began to actually embrace those twists and turns and learn how to keep more balance, maintain my seat, and even be able to raise my hands up in the air and and scream with shouts of joy and really enjoy the ride. And the same goes for relationships. Often my knee-jerk response when I first encountered, bumps or twists in my relationship with Nancy, was fear that I might have made a mistake getting on the ride. And as I realized that the turbulence was actually largely based on my thoughts about a difference of opinion or perspective, I began to lighten up and focus my thinking on what was there for me to learn about me and about Nancy. Sun Tzu says, in the midst of chaos, there's also opportunity. So similarly, turbulence in a relationship is also an opportunity to experience growth and learning about oneself and your partner. It can be an opportunity I see it as an opportunity for me to explore and heal whatever it is that's happening within me that's bringing turbulence into the relationship. Because very often it's just an idea or thought of difference or of opinion or idea uh, that has nothing to do with the situation itself that causes the turbulence. And uh, my study of science of mind has revealed to me that my actions or reactions, more accurately, to another's words or actions, are based on my perceptions, which are often tied to old hurts and disappointments. Uh, I have a story to share about one of the occasional points of turbulence in our relationship, which revolves around communication. Uh, Full disclosure, I sometimes get agitated, even though Nancy says I'm the calm and cool and collected one in a relationship. I often get agitated when Nancy doesn't share what to me is a key piece of information about an activity or an event, that we're involved in. And while I can and sometimes do get caught up in the consequences of me not having that information, what's more important is why I get agitated in the first place. And I found that allowing myself to kind of feel, the feelings, really get into what I was feeling and open myself up to it, it led me to an opportunity for deeper learning and remembrance. I was reminded about a situation when I was in elementary school for about, I think, it's somewhere between 8 or 9, and it kind of played a role in my need to like know everything. And my mom told me to leave school after lunch. And this was back in the time when you could actually do that. You were allowed to go off campus for lunch, and then we lived right across the street in the projects there. But she told me to not leave school, not to leave school rather after lunch, but she didn't tell me why. So lunch was over. I left school. I decided that, you know what, I gotta, it's a hall pass, so to speak. I'm gonna go in the playground by the school and play. And eventually, I was done playing and I came home. And I couldn't recall if my mom had come home from work because I wasn't where I was supposed to be, or when she came home from work afterwards at regular time. But she was furious, absolutely, livid, and more and afraid that something that happened to me. Well, it turns out that an older cousin was supposed to pick me up at home to take me to, of all places, Coney Island, and with her 2 children who were around my age, and we were very close. We grew up together. And I was crushed when my mom told me what was supposed to be happening, because I missed Coney Island and all of this stuff. I was had thoughts of dreams of Nathan's hot dogs after I missed all of that and the crinkle fries. I was a mess. I was mad at my mom for not trusting me enough to tell me of what was going on. Disappointed in myself for not coming straight home or realizing that I should have figured out that something was going on, and come home. And this actually is the basis of this underlying belief that if I don't have all the information, I'm going to miss out on something or I'm not going to succeed. And this wasn't necessarily news. This has come up before in a different situation. Actually, I believe in a practitioner session, but it was just a reminder to me that there are layers, of healing, and that it was time to actually let go of the grievances and beliefs tied to that event. Letting go, blaming my mother for not telling me everything. Um, I'm sure she provided specific instructions, but all I heard was leave school after lunch. And she actually had a good reason for not telling me everything because I couldn't keep a secret. You know, I probably would have blabbed to some kid, who would have told another teacher or the principal, and there would have been consequences for that. Letting go of beating myself up when I misunderstood or misinterpreted a situation, letting go of the belief that I need to know every detail or I might miss something, to be able to trust that spirit has worked things out, and whatever I need to know will reveal itself at the time that I really need to know it. And again, key to the revelations was allowing myself to be still and follow the stream of consciousness, so that I can get in touch with what I was feeling and thinking at the time, which led to forming that belief, which no longer works for me.
So now I'd like to speak on the turbulence we tend to experience in families. Now, there are frequently a range of ups and downs surrounding families, particularly amongst siblings. Everyone wants to be right, and my way is the best way. Sometimes in the heat of a dilemma, I don't want to hear what Ernest Holmes thinks. Yes, I'm guilty of that thought, particularly when it comes to family. Now, why is that? That's going to be another topic another time. Recently, a close sister who lives out of state and I were trying to decide how and when we were going to go to the wine country for an overnight stay. There was a time dilemma involved as this sibling had a few jobs to finish. She worked from home, and we could leave when we could leave for our 2-day adventure. She kept suggesting a trip that included lots of driving and not a lot of time to enjoy ourselves. I also had a time constraint. I had to be back home the following day before 4 o'clock. We went back and forth by text. Now, I'm old school. I'd rather talk on the phone, but her schedule didn't allow that. I wanted to be accommodating, as she doesn't have the advantage of going to Napa like I do. I found myself beginning to feel frustrated that this trip wasn't worth the hassle. Now, in my mind, I'm asking myself, how can we spend time together without inconveniencing each other? I didn't want to make things rocky and say, this is too much work and I'm not going, for that would have created an upset. I love my sister and we have a great relationship. Given the time frame, how can we spend time together where we can fully enjoy ourselves, where I can come from a place of love and make this work for both of us? So I told her I feel there's too many parameters that are going to inconvenience us both. So is there something else you would like to do? Instead, much to my surprise, she agreed. My initial thoughts started thinking, well, in the past, her response would have been blah, blah, blah. Well, she made a suggestion of taking Bart to her favorite Mexican restaurant in the Mission for lunch, which involved 1 day's time. I agreed, and I loved her suggestion. We came up with a plan where neither of us were challenged. We went and had a great time. The big takeaway here for me is don't judge the past to my current experience. Allow it to unfold and extend myself without judgment.
Mhm. So Mark Nepo in the Book of Awakening says, if revelation is the brief experience of seeing through the surface into ourselves and others, then wisdom is the recall of that seeing when the waters are murky. And I think what Mark is speaking to is us remembering, at least to me, remembering who and whose I am, who and whose Nancy is. That we are both expressions of spirit, having a human experience, and that it's important that we allow space for each other to have our experience with compassion, forgiveness, gratitude for having each other as teachers as well as life partners.
Ron, could you read that quote again?
Oh, yes. It says, if revelation is the brief experience of seeing through the surface, excuse me, if revelation is the brief experience of seeing through the surface into ourselves or others, then wisdom is the recall of that seeing when the waters are murky. And
Oh,
he was using the ocean as a metaphor and turbulence and wave movement of water in the ocean as a metaphor.
thank you.
And so, yeah, that spoke to me. It's remembering. It's in those moments when things are turbulent, remembering that we're one, and we are engaged in a holy partnership, so to speak. And that's what's important. And we are about at time, uh, I believe, and we could go. There's a whole bunch more that we could say on this, but I think the most important thing is again, there's going to be turbulence. As I said, we're human beings, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And that includes all the twists and turns and bumps and ups and downs that life contains. Life is going to be life. And what's in my hands and Nancy's hands is our response to that turbulence when it comes, and remembering that in meditation, leading with love and attaching ourselves to love and with love, and you'll never be disappointed. So thank you so much for being present this evening, and allowing us to open the door a little bit into our relationship and our experience of the turbulence of love. And what we'd like to do at this time is, as is our practice, to open it up, we'd like to hear what your thoughts and, feelings and experiences are around, turbulence in any relationship with self, relationship with an intimate partner, the person at the grocery, or the clerk at the grocery store. We all have our different methods of dealing with turbulence. So we'd like to hear from anyone that's willing to share.
A lot of people have their cameras off. You could turn your cameras on now. It'll be easier for us to know who has a hand raised or who would like to speak. Would anyone like to share on this topic? I don't see anybody.
Reverend Ikea, if you're talking, you're still muted.
Gabriella, I think, had her hand up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Oh, there she is. Hi,
Yeah.
Gabrielle.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, it's funny how like when you all move around when you come on, like, oh, hi. So I work at a school. One of the things I do is work at an elementary school, and there's this one cohort that really challenges me, and they have a lot of attitude. The rest of the grades don't have this effect. I think it's because they they were missing a teacher for like 2 months last year. I don't know where the attitude comes from, but for some reason I want to turn them into like altruistic, respectful children, and I don't think I'm going to accomplish that, to be honest. And I have to I have this great class, but I have to watch this challenging one at lunch. And I was with them last year and I was like, don't give me them. And of course, I got them at lunch, and it's just 18 minutes, but it's like 18 long minutes. And I have all these positive children experiences the rest of the day. And it's funny because they sit on one side and then my nice fifth graders sit on the other. And I don't have any trouble with the fifth graders. And we've had yellow jacket issues. Like the yellow jackets are, I don't know, it's a year where they smell the food and they come. And of course the kids hate, I mean, who wants to eat lunch with yellow jackets, So they add this turbulence, they add this chaos to the whole thing. Funny thing is that they don't go to the other side, they go to the fourth grade side. And it's just I guess I can say it's funny, but if you talked to me yesterday, I would have not said it was funny. It was really irritating me. But it's funny because I'm trying to have a good rapport with them, have them follow the rules, clean up the trash, even if it wasn't their trash. And then these yellow jackets come and just add this layer of I can't sit there, I gotta sit over there, and everybody's standing up and no one's supposed to stand up. And I'm like, wow, how can this get better? And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't say my prayers yesterday. I feel like if I don't have my morning practice, my day doesn't go as well. And I was up early today, and I spent time with Spirit and did healing work on other stuff, which made me less grumpy. And I asked the principal, I was like, can you just come for the last 5 minutes? Because I'm a little overwhelmed out there. And it was a lesson in me asking for help. I'm like, what am I learning here? Because clearly I can't escape this. There's something for me to learn. So there's little things like asking for help. And she came, and the first time early on the lunch, she came and she blew that whistle long and loud to get everybody's attention. I mean, that's a lot of people's attention. And I just love the authority that a principal can have, because like I don't always have that finesse or like, how can I be the nice person? How can I be the boundary rule leader? I just feel like I don't have, whatever. We all have our gifts. And she laid down the law. And then, whatever she did, like it was, people were raising their hand to go to the bathroom. These kids never raised their hands with me. And I was like, oh. And I wasn't in good, I wasn't in good relations with two kids. Like we weren't in, they were giving me a hard time yesterday. But because one of the kids came up and she was right there, I felt I felt safe. Like I'm so much older and I felt safe with this little fourth grader. And I was like, we had some confusion yesterday. Maybe we just need some clarity because I feel like we weren't speaking to each other really kindly. And to have a third person right there, I was like, let's both try better today, because I have to enforce, how we do things. Enforce. I don't know if I use that word enforce, but maybe I did. And it was good. Like he's like, okay. And I'm like, okay, good. And then this other kid who just like pretends she doesn't hear adults when she does, and it's not like she has an excuse. And I'm always trying to have them like clean up the trash, check under the table, go the extra mile, go the extra mile. Like you all need to go the extra mile. Whenever I talk to these kids, they're like, oh, that's not mine. Oh, that's not mine. And I just had a more peaceful lunch. And then the principal came and I could just do things. It was like support. Oh my gosh, I asked for support. And I think that's what I'm getting out of it. And I feel like the Yellow Jackets have something to offer this situation. I hope it goes. And then afterwards, the principal was like, don't worry about like duking it out with a kid. Like just let me help you, or just send him to me. Like don't. And I was like, okay, yeah. And I was like, that was so much better. Thank you. So I guess my lesson right now, I think there's a few lessons here, and I haven't figured them all out yet. But one is to ask for help. Because I can't do it all with like, so many children to watch over. Anyways, and I just have to say that sometimes nature like shows you the turbulence, and I feel like the Yellow Jackets are that vehicle right now. So I'm complete.
Right. Thank you, Gabriella. That's funny. Yeah, I call it that time, morning time, making myself, fit for human consumption. Very, very important to start, get the day going with that.
That's great. Reverend Ikea, did you have something you wanted to say?
Oh, not really. I enjoyed hearing the both of you, which I knew I would. So, it was great. You both have your own unique way of coming to a subject and sharing about it. And that's always fun to appreciate, which I really did. And anyway, that's probably all I have to
Thank
say at
you.
the
Thank
moment.
you. Thank you. Hmm. Anyone else? Peggy.
Thank you both. I have really enjoyed hearing the two of you, and I've chuckled along the way.
I saw you.
Did you see me? Sorry, I should
It's
have had
okay.
my screen turned off.
No, it's inspiring. Thank you.
It was, yes, you both of you were inspiring, and I took away a couple of things that I wanted to mention. I really liked the reminder about old hurts and old experiences that come
Mhm.
up for each of us in the midst of a normal day, in the midst of a turbulent experience or a turbulent moment. And sometimes the turbulence, you two have both reminded me, comes from within. I'm doing something and there's nobody else around. I'm doing something and I'm all of a sudden I'm getting some some thoughts or something, and I'm having some turbulence about what I'm doing now because I'm remembering something that where I failed or I omitted something or I
Yeah.
forgot
Mhm.
something, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Let me second guess myself, is those are the terms that come to me. And I'm like, it may not be second guessing after all. It may be that there's a turbulence to remind me to just look again, just double
Yes.
check how
Yes.
I'm leaving that text message. Because I voice my text
Mm.
messages. I don't just type them in. Let me take a look again. Because sometimes the phone just doesn't understand my language. And I've sent stuff out and I go, oh no, holy crap, I've got to. And then it dawned on me that I can press on the message, even though it's sent, I can hold it down and there's a menu that comes up where I can actually edit it, even though it's sent. So
Yes.
there was a wonderful opportunity of learning that came about. So that was wonderful. And I so appreciate that. And before I move on, before I say I'm done, because there is another kind of turbulence that you both have reminded me of, and sometimes that turbulence is not so noticeable at first. I have a studio. I share my studio with 4 other artists, and we people come and go, and you get a new studio mate. The new studio mate came in and she's so excited. This is the first studio she's ever had. And she wants to change the name of our studio. She wants,
Oh, no.
see what I mean? You see, you're having a similar experience. Oh no, happens. And I said, no, Peggy, what is that to you? Why are you having an oh no moment? What is that to you? Is that feeling out of control? Is that so I decided not to speak about it at all. Let it go. Drop it like it's hot. Do whatever phrase, do whatever phrase works. Let it go. So I let it go. And I came back to the studio and the name was changed on the door. And that's where I am right now. The name's changed on the door.
Hmm.
So I'm letting it, I had to remind myself, what is that to me?
Hmm.
My studio mates and we have a wonderful reputation of all getting along together. We're all very different people, and yet we found some common ground so easily.
Hmm.
And now we have an interloper. She's coming in with her energy. What is this with her energy? What is that? Okay, she's probably 15 years younger than the rest of us, and she's at a different stage of her life. And this is her first studio. It's not our first studio. We're kind of old hats now and old brushes. And so I decided I'm just going to embrace whatever makes her feel good.
Hmm. Hmm.
I finally figured out it didn't really matter to me
Hmm.
about the title. What was mattering to me was being out of control or of the title.
Hmm.
And so both of you in your own way reminded me of who and whose I really am, and that
Hmm.
these morning and evening meditations make such a difference. So thank you both. I'm complete.
Thank you, Peggy.
Wonderful.
That was
Thank you.
great.
Yeah, the thing is, there's like as you said, there's always turbulence, and or movement, I'll call it, and it varies in degrees. Sometimes we have what we'll call still waters, but there's still movement, um, and then at other times, we have big giant waves, crashing, on the shore, and just recognizing that, that we got still waters now. Now we've got waves crossing or crashing on the shore. And what is my take on that? How am I, responding to it? Um, I love one of the things I love from the Course in Miracles. One of the things that pops up for me quite often is that I realized I'm never upset for the reason that I think I am.
Mm.
It actually says we're never upset for the reason that we think we are. And it's, again, tied to, old hurts, at least for me, or old hurts and disappointments or erroneous conclusions that I've come to based upon, something that's happening now that I'm interpreting from past experience. Mhm.
I have one question,
Mhm.
if I may, if nobody else is.
Sure.
I didn't get a chance to write down the name of the book that you from. I love Mark Nepo, by the way.
Oh, the Book of Awakening.
Oh, thank you. That's all I need. Thank you.
I,
so much.
And
I've put
Yep.
them in the chat, Peggy.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thanks,
All
Judith.
the books they've mentioned are in the chat.
Okay, thanks, Judith.
Not necessarily the authors, but the titles.
well, the Book of Awakening is it's a daily reader.
Oh, okay.
And I've gone through it a couple of times. He just has if you want a poster child for dealing with turbulence and what life, can hand you or bring into your experience and moving through it with grace and ease. Mark Nepo is he's your guy.
Oh, I love him.
He's your guy.
He's awesome. He speaks my language for sure. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Hmm.
I'd like to say
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I really loved both of your examples. I loved your example, Ron, of being a child and, going to play instead of going home directly, and just you didn't have all the information, and you would have done something different if you had had all the information.
Mhm.
I mean, that was just such a good example. And Nancy, yours of the thing with your sister and both of you being able to pivot and make another choice because the one you were going for just wasn't working out. And
Yes.
having that flexibility to first of all suggest something and then have her respond in that way and it all worked out so beautifully. I know I recently had a little bit of a run-in with my sister. And I don't remember actually the details of it. I just remember the feeling of it. And I remember we had a little clash and I asked her, and I responded. I told her how I felt about whatever the communication was. And then she explained something. She gave me more information. She gave me a piece that I didn't have
Mhm.
and about why something happened the way it did or why she said something the way she did. And then when I had that information, I could let go and relax. I just needed more perspective. And if I hadn't asked, if I hadn't asked
Mhm.
or said how I felt, I think I kept it in the present and I did it, what do they call it? What is it? Assertiveness communication, where I'm saying, this is how I feel instead of blaming,
Mhm.
how I
Yes.
felt when such and such was said or happened. And then she explained her perspective. It was all done. It was just finished
Yeah.
quickly.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's like a little string with a bunch of knots in it, and then you just pull it and it all
Yep.
it all comes out. But it was important that I had to have the courage and the confidence to say something, because it's so easy to just stuff something. Just stuff it and grumble and feel bad about it and
Yep.
blame and all of that. And it takes courage sometimes to just say what's so. This is what I'm feeling when this happened or this was said, and then be open to whatever comes next. And in that case with my sister, it just unfolded so beautifully, and yours too with your sister.
Yep. It did.
Just say, oh, okay, this isn't a big deal, one person saw something one way, one saw something the other way, you work it out and then it's over.
Yeah.
And we're back together again,
Yep.
But we've got to communicate. We've got to communicate what's on our hearts and minds, or so often then these things stew and they build up and they become stuck and they become grudges and memories and all of that's not necessary.
No, not at all.
No.
I watched that situation unfold. I'd be passing by and there would be a conversation on the phone or some texting or Nancy would be saying something. And um, I I learned pretty quickly, keep my face out of it, keep my nose out of it. They've been doing this dance, for way longer than Nancy and I have been in a relationship. So, and it always works. It always always ends up working out. So
He was quite entertained.
it was pretty entertaining. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's times like that when I remember to use the Sufi gates of speech. And is there a way that I can share this stuff or provide it so that they can get to folks? So it's long story short, Sufi three gates of speech. First, is it true? My perception of what's going on. Is what I think I have to say necessary? And if it's necessary, can it be said in a kind way? Uh, and more often than not, when I pass through the gates, the answer to all that is, just shut up and and mind you, and leave it leave it alone. Um, yeah, so it's interesting to see this. Uh, I'll call it it's a dance. It's this nice little dance of learning and giving and receiving and allowing each other to find our way, yet knowing we still have the handrail of the relationship of our relationship, the heart of our relationship itself. And I'm very grateful.
Well, thank you.
Very grateful.
Thank you, Ron. If you
Mhm.
want to put that last reference in the chat, you could.
I'm going to do that right now. Matter of
And
fact,
I
So
think
I
it's about time now to switch over for our
have
announcement.
a short thing.
Oh, sure.
Because I heard that I have heard that differently. That is it about something? Is it true? Is it
useful.
does it need to be said?
said, mhm.
And am I the one that needs to say it?
Right.
Yes,
I heard
there's
it that
sometimes
way.
there are four. Yeah. Am I the one that doesn't need to be said, doesn't need to be said by me?
Doesn't need to be said by me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I keep that in the back of my head when something comes up. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to bring all of that. As you're going through the announcements, I'm going to go grab it and pop it in.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you both. This was a really lovely way to address the topic. I was really curious how turbulence of love, and you did a beautiful job. So,
Thank you.
Freddie, can we go to the announcements, the slides? All right. So this Sunday, August 31st, Dr. Suzanne Dubois will be speaking on love's descent. That sounds like an interesting topic too. A meditation starts at 10 and is followed by the service at 11. And on Wednesday, September 3rd, join Maud Wilson, MA, for our midweek Oasis service for an encore discussion of the topic Love's Descent. And as usual on Wednesdays, meditation is at 6:30 and the service begins at 7. And get your tickets for the 80th anniversary gala on September 20th. We have various ticket options available. Also, there are limited community tickets available for those in need. contact Reverend Sunshine Michelle at revsunshine@oaklandcsl.org. Get an 80th anniversary bag in the bookstore and visit oaklandcsl.org/events for more information on our anniversary. Hope to see you there. The Women's Spiritual Empowerment Group has started a new 6-week series. The next session is August 31st, 12:45 to 2:15 p.m. in the sanctuary, followed by the next gathering September 14th. Visit oaklandcsl.org/group to learn more. And please join the Ministry of Prayer for Friday night prayer happy hour. It will now be offered twice a month on the first and third Friday. Come on September 5th and 19th from 7 to 8 p.m. on Zoom. Practitioners Maureen Molina and Megan Lemon are your hosts to help you anchor in prayer. Please visit oaklandcsl.org/events and click on the image and use the passcode 411797. The Social Justice Ministry meets on September 7th at 1 p.m. in the Social Hall, the first Sunday of the month. So that's coming up. And Gabriele Condi is gathering volunteers for various posts at the anniversary gala, like table setup ahead of the event and breakdown on Sunday after the event, registration table, greeters, ushers, and various other duties. Please send your interests to info@oaklandcsl.org and put in the subject line Gala Volunteers. Thanks in advance for your support. So lots of help needed and lots of different options for volunteering. And we are collecting shout outs to celebrate our 80th anniversary. Either one, stop by and meet Rev Deb on Sunday, August 31st at noon in the courtyard to record your video message of love, memories, and congratulations for OCSL, or two, record your own short video greeting of 60 to 90 seconds and email it to info@oaklandcsl.org or contact Rev Deb at myrootconnections@gmail.com with questions. Let's make this milestone even more unforgettable. So your input is welcome and will be shared. And our nonprofit partner for September and October is Planting Justice. Planting Justice is working toward economic and environmental justice by building a network of sustainable land-based social enterprises. They encounter systemic oppression, violence, and inequity by creating good jobs with nature-based work, a healing environment with holistic community support, and real opportunities for personal growth. And I said they encounter systemic. What I meant to say was they counter systemic oppression, violence, and inequity. They may encounter it also, but we're emphasizing that they counter that in their work. So visit plantingjustice.org for more information. And did you know that we have a lost and found bin of unclaimed items? If you're missing an item, please let Nancy Hester know, our speaker, one of our speakers tonight, and email her at nhester@oaklandcsl.org. For all unclaimed items, the bin will be placed out by the name tags table so you can sort through them. After August 31st, any unclaimed items are going to be donated. So thank you, Nancy, for that service also. Okay, the Spirit Treasure Bookstore celebrates August with its inventory clearance sale. Books are 40% off, merchandise is 30% off, And any 5 items or more valued over $10 are 40% off. 10 or more items valued under $10 are 40% off. Be sure to pick up your OCSL 80th anniversary bags for $15 plus tax. And please visit our website at oaklandcsl.org and sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Village News. Remember to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook for special updates. Like and subscribe to Oakland Center today. And also visit csl.org to see what's happening within our Centers for Spiritual Living global organization. And now I want to highlight our contact team, who you can see all of our key people on the screen here. These are the people in our community who are they are just keeping our center thriving and humming. And so I just want to acknowledge all of them for the beautiful and important work that they're doing. And Freddie, you can go to the next slide now. So we're moving into joyous giving. Conscious giving is a celebration, an expression of gratitude, and a spiritual practice. In giving, we celebrate our community and express gratitude for all the folks who give of their time, talent, and treasure to sustain it. We also acknowledge our place in the flow of universal power and abundance, and put our intentions for greater experiences of abundance into action. In that spirit, please follow along as I read the giving affirmation. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies. I'm going to start that over. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies this offering. It blesses all that I am, all that I give, and all that I circulate. Thank you, love, as me, and so it is. So if you feel inspired to donate to our center, you can go to our website, our homepage, and click on this donate button, the purple button there. And that will take you to all these different ways that you can give. You can use Zelle, you can use, you can write a check, you can use a credit card. You can, of course, if you're there in person, you can put something in the offering basket. And any and all donations are gratefully accepted. So thank you for that. And now I would like to thank everybody who participated in the service tonight. I want to especially thank Ron and Nancy for their beautiful talk on the turbulence of love. Beautiful message and examples and inspiring, and lots of resources offered. So thank you for that. I want to also thank Ron for leading our meditation in the beginning. And I want to thank Freddie Lambright III, who's running our PowerPoint and spotlighting and is always here, come thick, rain and shine for being our AV person in the background for our Wednesday nights. I also want to thank all of the ministers who support us. We have Reverend Ikea Param, who's on the call tonight, Reverend Elena Hutchinson, who hosts this every other week, and Reverend Dr. Sunshine Michelle Coleman, who of course is our senior minister and oversees everything that happens at the center. And now I think I would like to invite Ron to offer our closing prayer. Ron?
And so let us go within by taking a deep breath. And so I give thanks for the divine presence in the form of the love that has been with us this evening. I give thanks for all that has been shared and experienced and revealed, and especially for the experience of love itself. I bless each of us knowing that as we continue on with our day, that we are enveloped by the divine with an abundance of its love and peace to share with all whose lives we touch. And so it is. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Nancy, for a lovely evening.
Our pleasure.